actually happened. Whenever I do the time lapse outside, I put it on this suction cup thing. Well, today it was up here and it actually fell and I heard it. And thank Christ I tied these knots so that in case it falls, it catches it, because it actually fell. It would have dropped like 15 stories. Always tie square knots. That's the lesson. Square knots. Not any other bullshit knot. You might know some other knots. Nah, son. Square knot. Just got back from my trip to the Western United States.
Nah, 4,000 years, that's it.
It was a long travel day. I took a shuttle bus to a plane, to another plane, to a taxi, to a bullet train, to a subway. And it took like 26 hours. It's really good to finally be back home. And that's one of the things I want to talk to you today about. I was thinking about the topic of home while I was coming back to China. You know, I think a lot of millennials think of home as where they grew up. You know, I think I, very early in my adult life, began to think of home in a very different way. You see, I went right into the military out of high school, and shortly after that, I stopped thinking about the place where I grew up, the south suburbs of Chicago, as home. And that's not for any negative reason, and it wasn't because my family wasn't there. They were, but I just started to think about home as the place where I lived. While I was coming back in my sleep-deprived slumber on planes and trains and taxis, I kind of had little mini daydreams about my old home back in New Jersey, where I lived with Diana for 6 years. And I kind of had these little dreams where I would, pull up onto that street of our apartment in Highland Park, New Jersey, and park my car and smell the smells and walk up the stairs and hear Roxy start barking when I come in the door, and see our whole old apartment in its old layout and see Diana. And I kind of thought that is home, but that's actually not true. It isn't home anymore. That apartment is gone and all of our stuff isn't there, and Roxy, for a couple complicated reasons, isn't here. And so that kind of made me a little sad. But when I walked in the door of this apartment last night and saw my wife and the big smile on her face, I knew I was home. And that is a profound thing if you actually kind of think about it. So if I could offer some unsolicited advice, I would say treat where you live as home, no matter where it is, no matter how lonely you might feel or how isolating you might feel. If you treat the place where you currently reside as home, you will begin to think of it in a very different frame. And I think you might find that you get more joy out of that place when you do it. Stuff smells like campfire and ass.